The world is really waiting for word from the American president, while the skies over both cities look and sound like this. Warning signs in Israel for waves of incoming missiles from Iran, most intercepted by the Iron Dome, though some, as we've seen play out in recent days, are getting through. There are also new explosions in Tehran as Israel is warning an entire district of that city to evacuate tonight. Our sources are telling us that at the White House, President Trump is weighing using U.S. aircraft and bombs to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. A senior Israeli official says they're also waiting to learn whether or not the president is going to help them achieve their goal of destroying Iran's nuclear program. The president huddled with his national security team in the Situation Room for over an hour today on this very issue. You can see generals and cabinet secretaries entering and then leaving the White House complex throughout the day. As the White House confirmed that also behind the scenes, the president was on the phone with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, though neither the administration nor Israel offered a readout of what was said. We didn't see the president in front of the cameras today, but when we questioned him overnight about where he stood on Iran, this is what he told us on Air Force One.
They've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. The cities have been blown to pieces, have lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in the mood to negotiate.
The president took to Truth Social before a meeting in the Situation Room today where he wrote this, quote, "We now have complete and total control over the skies over Iran." The key word there is the first one, we. He followed that with, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but he's safe there. We are not going to take him out, at least not for now." And then in all caps, the president demanded, quote, "unconditional surrender." If the president does order a U.S. strike on Iranian nuclear facilities, there are still major questions this evening about what could follow, including whether that U.S. strike would be guaranteed to reach Iran's most precious nuclear sites, which are built into mountains deep underground. Is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
It's on everything or anything in life, you know that. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program? Or where's your assessment of that?
I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before that. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
I want to get straight to CNN's Anderson Cooper, who is live in Amman, Jordan tonight, where missiles have been passing overhead. And, Anderson, obviously I should note the reason you're there. The airspace over Israel is closed as you're making your way there. You have to drive to actually get there. What are we seeing and hearing on the ground over there tonight?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in this region are waiting and watching to see what President Trump decides, what the U.S. decides to do. I mean, that is the story of this night. We have seen this, back and forth missile barrages, some incoming to Tel Aviv. As we landed here several hours ago, driving in from the airport, you could see Jordanian air defenses. What we were told were Jordanian air defenses activated. Couldn't see interceptions, but we did see the air defenses activated in the skies over us. And then around the same time, we saw in the skies over Tel Aviv interceptors as well. No reports of significant damage there. Some casualties. Jeremy Diamond has just been. I was just talking to him. No reports right now of casualties in Tel Aviv. The question, of course, what is the U.S. going to do? Will there be a direct strike against that Fordo facility? That is of the two facilities, the Natanz and the Fordo, as you know, and as you've been reporting. That is the one inside that mountain, which can really only be reached by these bombs which the United States has and the delivery mechanisms that the United States has. It would require more than just one. It would be successive waves from what we understand. But there's a lot of questions tonight about, and no one seems to know the answer for sure, about what Donald Trump's going to decide to do.
Yeah, and the Israelis, the officials there, seem to be treading very carefully to not seem like they are pushing him into anything, though they very clearly want the United States to get involved here. Anderson, thank you. We'll check in with you as news warrants throughout the hour. And with that as the backdrop, I should note that here in Washington, there is a growing divide among the president's supporters about the question of a possible foreign intervention by the United States. Look at this remarkable exchange. We're going to play for you here. Republican Senator Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson on this very issue.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because,
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why
because
is that
if
relevant?
you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
What percent?
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is
no,
cute.
it's not
Okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
Okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a
who
senator
says,
who's calling for the
you're one who
overthrow of the
claims-
government.
You're the one
you
who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country.
Deeply revealing. Joining me tonight is Republican Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana, who sits on the Armed Services Committee and served as a Navy SEAL. I'm not going to ask you the population of Iran, since you just saw that, but that does show people the divide that is happening in your world over what the president should do here. What do you think he should do? Do you support strikes on Iran?
Well, it's not my world. It's our world. The truth is there are deep divides across the spectrum on both sides about what we do here. Let's speak very clear. The Democrats have been deeply divided over whether Israel has a right to exist as well. There have been Democrats calling for...
The Republicans are in power. So what are...
No, I'd
the
argue, that
Republican
they have
president
almost
to do?
half the Senate and half the House. So the Democrats have a lot of power right now. They have the power to do a lot of things. But back to the point is what do we do right now? And the truth is, Iran has been a pernicious adversary, a brutal, savage adversary of America and Israel, and the Western world for 45 years. I mean, prior to 1980, Iran was a symbol of what the Middle East could be in this new era of oil wealth that was cascading across the region. Freedom, opportunity, innovation. When this regime, this brutal, murderous regime took over in 1980, which started, by the way, with taking hundreds of Americans hostage at our embassy, we've seen nothing but murder, attack, terrible, terrible oppression from this regime for 45 years. And nowhere is that more apparent than right now in Israel as they launch their entire fleet of ballistic missiles to wipe a nation off the map.
But why strike now? Well, first, do you support
Well, first of all,
the
I didn't say
strikes?
we should strike.
Do you support strikes?
I support what Israel is doing 100%.
Do you support strikes by the United States? If President Trump
I don't think
decides
we need
that?
to get directly involved because I think we've been very directly involved in the region for 25 years. I think what Americans have spoken very clearly about is we don't want more war in the Middle East. Now, I think our ability to help to help Israel be precise and successful in their strikes in Iran is key. And if that means providing them the equipment to do so, intelligence to do so, the specific bombs and platforms to do so, I'm totally supportive. But it's very important that we draw a line in the sand that the American people have made very clear they don't want us going to war anymore in the Middle East. They don't want boys and girls from their American families on the ground there. They don't want to get drawn into prolonged conflict. But I think it is in our interest, it is in the American people's interest to see Iran put back in the box. They can stop this tomorrow, just like Hamas could have stopped the war in Gaza. They can stop it tomorrow by giving up the nuclear program.
Where is that distinction in supporting Israel as it strikes Iran and the United States striking Israel? You're saying you don't support the president having
Well, a very clear
U.S.
distinction.
bombers
that
go
distinction is not
and
hard at
strike
all.
those facilities.
I mean, how is the distinction hard between having Israeli forces do the job versus U.S. forces? That's a pretty clear distinction.
Well, it wasn't clear in how you answered it, at least not to me. I just wanted to make clear. You're saying you do support the United States giving Israel support and whatnot, but you don't support the United States actually going over there and striking their nuclear facility.
Well, I mean, that decision can be made by one person and one person alone right now. The president has to decide, am I going to send American bombers and American technology and American servicemen to carry out this strike? If so, that's his decision, and I think if he decided to do so, I'd support him. Ultimately, though, what it has to be is Iran has the opportunity. The power is in Iran's hands right now. If they give up the nuclear program, just like the power is in Hamas's hands to end the war in Gaza, give up the hostages and we'll stop attacking you. Give up the hostages, we'll stop sieging Gaza. Iran can say, you know what, done. We're done with the nuclear program. We will unconditional surrender, as the president said. This can all end tomorrow. So right now, really, the power is in Iran's hands, oddly enough.
But you say the power is in the president's hands as well. But I mean,
Well, the
this has
decision's in the president.
reignited a debate on Capitol Hill about Congress's power to declare war. Some of your colleagues, Republicans, are circulating a resolution that they want to say that if the United States is going to take offensive action against Iran, that Congress has to approve it first. Would you vote yes on that resolution?
No, I think in this particular case, so first of all, I completely concur that the sole power to declare war in the United States rests with Congress. That's a constitutional responsibility of Congress. I think it's a huge error we've made over the past 80 years since World War II that we have instead authorized the AUMF, authorized use of military force. We've essentially outsourced to the president the power to declare war.
So that sounds like you would support the resolution.
I would in general, but this isn't declaring a war. This is involving ourselves in a precision strike that, in frankly, a war that's already been going on for 45 years. We've been fighting Iran for 45 years. We fought Iran in Iraq. We fought them in Afghanistan. We've been fighting them in Beirut. They killed 246 Marines in Beirut in 1983. They killed thousands of us, including many of my friends in Iraq and Afghanistan. So let's be very clear. This isn't a new front of a war. This is an adversary that we have been fighting directly for 45 years.